Makoto Shinkai is a very fascinating person. The biggest name in the anime industry right now has had an amazing run from working on his own for the most part to becoming a household name in the anime community, and since 2016 in the topic of film. There was a time in the not too distant past where I decided to watch all the guy's films he worked on that I was able to watch, from Voices of a Distant Star to 5 centimeters per second, and his most recent film to come to the States, and one of my all-time favorite films, Your Name. And needless to say, I wasn't disappointed at all. His use of visual storytelling and compelling plot points is what makes his movies stand out to me, so when I saw that he released a new film back in July, Weathering With You, I was already occupied with, let's just say, work. But now I am back home, and I'm back to making videos frequently again, and that is when I decided to take a deep look into the filmography of a man who has been labeled time and time again as the next Miyazaki. This is the first edition of the Makoto Shinkai Project. After graduating from university in 1994, Shinkai got hired to work at a video game company called Falcom, where he worked on video clips and graphic design, mainly for video game openings. Because that he hung out with so many people who were into animation, he decided to work on a few short films on the side. Now, I know what you're thinking, but no, the short film in the title isn't the first one he released. It's just the one that got him on the map. The first film that he ever released was called Kakomadera Sakai, or The World Be Enclosed, in 1998. Shinkai created this using Lightwave 3D, and it was the first piece of work where a good friend from Falcom named Asushi Shirakawa, also known as Tenmon, worked on the music. What really messes with me is that apparently, after looking this up, this was based off of a book from his favorite novelist, but apparently it's 30 seconds long? The weird part about it is that we're probably never going to find out why, because the only piece of media that I could find around this quote-unquote short film is this picture, as the video is nowhere to be found. From what I could find, apparently it was on Shinkai's website at one point, but was taken down due to bandwidth issues, and after a little bit of sleuthing, it was on YouTube as well, but also was taken down possibly for the same reason. From what I could find, the chances of it popping up again are slim to none, because he only saw the film as a way for him to get better at CG animation. He saw it as practice. So, I guess we can just shut the door on that. The second one that he made also came out in 1998, called Tui Sakai, or Other Worlds, where this time there is footage, and it's a minute and a half, showing in the beginning that his name is shown as Makoto Nitsu, the name that he was born with. The short is just two people talking about their relationship, and for what it is, it's pretty well made. But while he was releasing these very short films, he would work on a 5-minute OVA that he made by himself, kinda, that would put his name on the map as an indie animator and director. Thinking up the idea in 1997, he started working on his next short film a year later while still working at Falcom, called She and Her Cats, or She and Her Cat, Their Standing Points. The story follows a cat named Shobi, voiced by Shinkai, and it follows his perspective as he's living with his owner, an unnamed woman known only as She. Shinkai said that he was inspired to make the OVA after seeing a girl that he was in love with go through some issues she was dealing with, and decided to make this as a way to help her out and console her. He was also one of 4 people to work on the project, alongside Tenmon, who did the music. Mika Shinohara, who provided the voice for She, was a fellow illustrator and Shinkai's girlfriend at the time, and a person only known as Rabsaurus for his quote-unquote cooperation on the project, whatever that means. After he finished it in 1999, he burned approximately 5,000 copies on CDs and sold them at Comiket, and also through his official website, to which he received critical acclaim and even got him the grand prize in a CG animation contest the next year in 2000. But the biggest response he got was from the anime distribution company Mangazoo, now known today as CoMix Wave Films, who sent him a lengthy email saying how much they were impressed by the short and eventually would hire Shinkai while he was working on his next OVA, Voices of a Distant Star, sometime in 2001. In the years since its release, as Shinkai evolved in terms of status and quality, there has been a manga release and a TV miniseries around the original story. The manga only had one volume which covers the same points as the OVA and came out in early 2016, while the 4-episode series titled She and Her Cat Everything Flows, which was released a month later and was produced by CoMix Wave Films, is more of a prequel to the OVA, as it has the same female protagonist, this time having the name Miyu, as she goes through her life living with her black cat Daru before he passes away. Of course, it's also through the cat's perspective. And the final scene of the series shows Miyu adopting a white cat named Chobi from the side of a walkway that is voiced by, you guessed it, Shinkai again. Because of how much there is regarding the 5-minute OVA, I'm just going to add what I've also thought of the 4-episode series because, as you would expect, there are some similarities between the two. The fact that the storyline is being told from the cat's perspective and the monologue that each of them brings out adds a philosophical and psychological element to it. Whether you're really affected by what's being said is up to you, but I can say that personally it was gripping to see what they have to say and hear what they have to say the least. Watching the short now, you can make the argument that there are a few cases of foreshadowing when you look at his future projects through feelings of loneliness and the constant theme of separation and connection, as well as imagery of both cell phones, which we're going to get to probably in the next Shinkai video and in every Shinkai review since, and feet. Don't ask why, he just shows a lot of feet. While for the 4-episode miniseries, obviously the screenwriter added more to the story because they have to. And with that, made an even balance by adding a number of flashbacks and metaphors to make the end result alluring to the viewer, in addition to what the OVA put in place to make the miniseries. When it comes to music, the short had hints of piano music that added to the melancholic feel, while the miniseries mixed theirs in pretty well, mostly still piano music. The most impacting part to me that brought out both of them was the animation. For the series, it plainly adds to the balance of the show with its directness, but the OVA takes that to a whole nother level. Because at the time Shinkai was still experimenting with CG animation, he opted to make the short black and white because it would have made his computer 3 times slower, and the project would have taken up 3 times as much space if he added color to it. The background art was inspired by the other projects Shinkai was working at the time, mainly RPGs, which are known for its detailed visuals. And this was also the first of a number of instances throughout his career where Shinkai actively went out to take pictures in order to use them for his hand-drawn animation and worked on the composition using Adobe After Effects. Shinkai's goal was to let the animation speak for itself, and it said a lot. While the 2016 miniseries was solid in its own right, there are a couple of ways to look at the 1999 OVA. On one hand, it's a delightful, melancholic 5-minute clip that tells an amazing story with very little time, while on the other hand, looking at the big picture 20 years later, it tells of the humble beginnings of a 26-year-old graphic designer who worked on video game openings and his eventual rise to become the director and writer we know him to be today. With that, I'm going to give both the 2016 miniseries and the 1999 OVA a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching this She and Her Cat video. I've been waiting to make a Makoto Shinkai video and to make this whole Makoto Shinkai project for a very, very long time. To say that he's one of my favorite directors is a huge understatement. If you like this clip at all, if you've seen it, hit the like button down below. If you like this video, hit the like button down below. If you want to see more videos like this in the near future, you can hit the subscribe button either on the screen or under the video. If you want to see videos that I have made in the past, there are a number of videos on the screen as well as in the channel under the description. And with that, my name is Payne, and I'll see you in the next video when I go back to reviewing Ghibli films.